What's up, everybody in the live chat? I see you already. I appreciate you already. We'll get the stream going in just a couple minutes. Okay, I'm gonna try something fancy here. Let's see if this actually works. Oh, that's not what I was trying to do. I was trying to do that. I was just trying to do the whoop transition. I couldn't even do that properly. That's why I'm just a broadcaster, not a technical director. Here in the live stream, I've got to be the one-man band, but you always look better when being part of a team. Let's try that again. Okay, there's the transition into the live stream. What's up, everybody? Thanks for being here. I really do appreciate it. I know it's rare. What is it, a Thursday afternoon? There's no A's game. Sharks play later. I'm not working on that broadcast. I know some have asked, do you have any more Sharks games the rest of the season? It was a hard, quick transition this year. Some years I do a little bit of both until the end. This year, my superiors, my bosses, ones who know the best, said, you know what? Go straight to baseball when it starts. Of course I'm watching the rest of the hockey season. Of course I'm conflicted the last couple games. 3-game win streak, and then even picking up a point against Colorado the other game. So 4-game point streak for the Sharks. What do they have? 4 to 6 point margin between themselves and last in the NHL and the best odds at a first pick. I know it. I can't root against the players. I cannot. But ultimately, I do understand the bigger picture situation that, yeah, they could use the future of their franchise. You may notice here in the background, I can't show it too much, but I've just got baseball on. I've actually got. Wait, is that a Giants game? Is that me with the Giants game on in the background? I saw one of the comments say that they were handing it to the White Sox. 4-0 in the bottom of the second. I don't know. It's not over yet. Chicago's not going to go away that fast, but I get it. Let's get into some of the live chat here while we can. That was supposed to work, but it didn't. Let's try this. It's not working either. Hello, live chat. Where are you? Oh, I know. I know why it's not working. Wow. I'm not in my nighttime rhythm right now. I'm really not. Hey, Zeus, saludos to you as well, too. Great question. Why isn't Jordan Diaz on the roster? When camp broke for the A's, there were a couple of things that surprised us, like Christian Pache not making it with no more options left. He was traded to Philadelphia. I thought Jordan Diaz, the way he finished last season, and probably to your point, the mark he made on the last couple weeks, what a hitter. And I thought that would have carried over into an opportunity this year, but he's still young. You bring in a guy like Jesus Aguilar, that's probably the Diaz roster spot right there. And they maybe wanted more of a veteran presence to start the season. Opportunity with Aguilar. So, again, I'm not the mastermind behind the scenes, but that's probably why. It was a very competitive A's roster out of camp. I mean, just to earn a spot, obviously. They had more faces and names than they had opportunities available. Hey, Ryan, I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being on the Super Chat. Prediction for World Series champion this year. Okay. You ready for it? I will be going with the... Hang on a second. San Diego Padres. I mean, it's got to be one of those teams that spends a lot of money. It's the haves and the have-nots in terms of salary this season in Major League Baseball. There's a bunch of teams that are way up there, past $250 million. You look at the Mets, you look at the Yankees always spending that way. You look at the Padres and Dodgers now. I should pull up the list. I mean, I don't have it memorized, but the big names and the heavy hitters in terms of salaries. And it does seem like in baseball there's a little bit of sense when it comes to how much you spend versus how your regular season goes versus how you ultimately finish out in the playoffs and winning a title or not. Only one team is going to be satisfied at the end, right? Only one team's going to look back and say, well, we spent all that money and we won it all. Or in the case of a lot of teams, we spent enough, $175 million got us a World Series title. We didn't have to go the full 225, 275. What are the Mets at? 3-something? 340? I've lost track. So I do predict that this will be a year that one of those 4 or 5 ultra spending teams gets it. And look, I'm selfishly pulling for the San Diego Padres. As much as they have spent a ridiculous amount, it still feels like they're a bit of an underdog when it comes to Dodgers or Mets or Yankees. I don't know, because San Diego is Southern California, but San Diego is not Los Angeles. San Diego is not clearly New York. It's on the opposite coast and opposite in a lot of ways. Just it's different. And they haven't had something like this in so long. And even for them to make the playoffs and be relevant again in the last couple of years, super cool, super important. I sincerely pull for former A's manager Bob Melvin. Personal connections there. So if I'm selfish, I know that's more of a hope than a full-scale prediction, but it's also, I think, a reasonable prediction. Now, who they might play in the World Series representing the American League, I don't know. Remains to be seen. Maybe we get a bit of a surprise contestant in the American League. Maybe we do get a Chicago White Sox. Very talented, very underperforming in recent years. I don't know. Maybe we get a Tampa Bay Rays. I have no clue. If I'm picking surprise teams, I don't know. But I do kind of have that instinct that maybe the Padres will face a surprise team from the American League. I can't believe I didn't know why the live chat was not working at first. And then I realized how dumb I was and the reason it wasn't. Because I didn't click on a comment. It's literally that simple. Yeah, live on a Thursday afternoon / morning, depending on where you're watching. I just to set the backstory. My kid is out doing something. My wife is out doing something. I've already done the things I need to do for today. Fixed my bike, rode the bike. So we're good. We're good for a bit of time here. A's are off today. Not even first off day. Second off day already. of the regular season. Last night, they flew out to Tampa. Today, entirely off in Florida. Then tomorrow, they'll start the series against the Rays. What's up, Caker girl? Oh, still with the Timo avatar. I see, huh? Still, I didn't realize we were still doing the fancy transition there. Still with Timo, huh? All right, I saw the Devils are in the playoffs. No surprise there. Ryan, I'm doing great, and this was your comment from before, so I appreciate your comment before the question too. Everything's doing all right. No complaints. You know, it's that transitional time of year for me where I go from studio shows every other night, let's say for hockey season, to like literally 5 and 6 and sometimes 7 days a week for baseball. So heavy workload, a lot of volume of work, a lot of commuting for me, a lot of paying attention to multiple things, how the A's are doing, how the Sharks are finishing up their season. There's just a lot going on. Some would say best time of the year. I mean, it's either this or it's October a lot of times when baseball's wrapping up and then you get the winter sports kicking in. So I'm curious about a lot of things, by the way. I'm curious about the NBA. I'm curious about the Warriors, like what might happen. They've kind of backed their way now into the playoffs and maybe, but we've seen this before, right? They know when to exert themselves. They know when to prioritize or not. Can they be dangerous in the playoffs? How about the Sacramento Kings? I mean, I don't know that they're just going to settle for being one of the top seeds in the Western Conference. I think they want more than that. Like getting in, sure, that was a necessity. But advancing and making this interesting, I don't think you come this far to only, go one round and done. I really. Also, I'm really interested in this NBA tournament, in-season tournament for next season. Part of the new CBA. We don't have anything like that in professional sports in North America, an in-season tournament that has no real outcome, at least from what I understand, on the regular season. It only has a financial gain for the players if you win the in-season tournament. We're boogieing, Riley. I appreciate you being here. Caker girl, I'm assuming there might be, are you still a student? Maybe there's a class to attend. I appreciate you stopping by. The A's attendance number looks sad to see. Jesus, I will not elaborate on this right here, right now, but a couple things. Number one, I agree. It's not something that anybody is thrilled about. I think when it gets discussed and when it gets attention on social media, a lot of times it's coming from people across the country who've just not been paying attention to recent times with the A's and everything that's gone on and every back and forth. I think there is a need for a larger scale conversation and understanding just to point at attendance and say, oh, that's terrible, and here's the minor league attendance numbers. It doesn't represent the entire situation. So again, I'll go deeper on that in a different time when I'm more prepared to really cover all the bases. But as for right now, I do agree with this. I don't think it's being portrayed in its entirety right now. People are just scratching, the surface and calling all the attention on that. EV Fly Guy, hello. Good to see you here. Yeah, there we go. RJ, the Giants are wrecking the White Sox. Did they win yesterday too? I was out doing some things and saw their game on. I think it was a pretty one-sided score. Uh-oh. Just as I say that, I can't show too much of it here, but it's now 4-2. White Sox just picked up 2 runs and they get 2 RBI single right there. So, what am I doing Giants score updates here on my YouTube channel? Primarily an A's and Sharks fan base, but you know what? I want to make this clear. And I've already established this, I think, over the winter months. If something is interesting with the Giants or with the Warriors or with the Sacramento Kings, I used to say, well, I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it to somebody else. If I honestly have something to give you worth your time and with some value, I'm probably going to do it. I do feel like I've been holding back in trying to give all the attention to the 2 entities that I believe need it, right? The A's and Sharks. They both need it. They need every ounce of, not to say good attention, but they need every ounce of somebody in my business to bring you thoughts, perspectives, news, information, all that stuff. So I want to do them justice. I will never back away from that. But if and when I can, and if it makes sense, I'll talk about the Giants. Uh-oh. another hit, little two-out rally. We're only in the bottom of the second here. It's 4-2. This might be one of those 12-11 games by the time it's said and done. T-Money. Beautiful day here in the state of Iowa. All right. I didn't know you were in Iowa. What, Des Moines? Where are you at? And when you say beautiful day, isn't this the time of the year where, places that get really cold and really hot, like the Midwest or like the South or like most of the U.S. outside of the two coasts, isn't like April, May, and into June? This is the best time of year, right? You're thawing out. You're finally seeing some sunshine, and it's not sweltering hot yet, or all the bugs attack you and all that stuff. These next couple weeks and months, this is where it's at. And I mean, look, that's the same for here in Northern California too. So, but I think it's exaggerated everywhere else where there are the extremes of hot and cold. Oh, rainy day here in Washington. See, typical. Everybody's got a different perspective. Everybody does. We just got hit with the storm the other day, and it was a very odd one. I think, and here we are, a week into April. I'm hoping we've seen our last atmospheric river for Northern California. I just went out and planted some plants yesterday. I don't need them to get soaked. Like, I want them to live. I want them to get some water, a lot of sunshine, and live, right? I'm done with the front yard flooding, if you know what I mean. I love the water. We've needed the water, and I love when it rains. I'm actually a person who prefers the rainy, gloomy days. Yeah, I know, and I don't take a ton of pride in that because I know a lot of people will say you're crazy, you're a depressed person, but I love that type of weather. Do I have? Let me see. Do I? Oh yeah, I do have that. I love this right here. I also sometimes love a little bit of this. Is this what the storm sounded like, T-Money? This is what you're here for on the live stream, right? Sound effects? Highly doubt it. Okay, into that. By the way, when I realize it's time to go at the end of my live stream, I think this has to be the, I don't know what I call that, the 2-minute warning buzzer. I know that's the end of a period or end of a game chime for the Sharks and all their years, but I'm going to use that here on the live stream. When it's, better start wrapping up. Or if I need a little bit of motivation, let's go, bro. Let's go, bro. Let's see what else we got here in the live chat. Hey, Brody, can you do a Sharks behind the scenes where we see the process of coaches reviewing and issuing a challenge? Man, you know what? Blast Master. Oh, I see what you did there. Blast TM Master. I think it happens so fast that you would need it to happen once in real time. And we've got evidence of that, right? David Quinn in the video room and everybody, communicating and the video coach is saying, challenge that. But I think what you need is them to look at it afterwards and say, okay, here's what we're doing right now. And you need the camera on them the entire time. Who talks to who first? Usually, I can tell you this, usually the challenge comes from their video room. The Sharks video coaches who have instant access to rewind something, play it back from a couple angles, and then quickly on the phone or either on the phone or I think it's a radio that they communicate with the earpieces. And it's literally to say, we got to go for that. We got to challenge. Yes, challenge, no challenge. Because the coach doesn't have very long to indicate to the officials that we want to look at that. Same thing in baseball. Now, baseball, you see there's an actual phone device. The phone device rings in the dugout. But I agree with you. It happens so fast. There's so much going on behind the scenes. And again, it's usually not the coaches on a hockey bench or the manager in a dugout. It's usually the support staff they have in a totally different space, in a dark room, plenty of monitors, all the technology to instantly rewind the clip, play it back, and try and indicate or try and get a better gauge of what actually happened and do we have a chance? You know what the initial call was, but do we actually have a chance to review this thing and see if it makes sense? Now, like in hockey, right, for example, you lose the challenge, you're on a penalty kill all of a sudden. So it comes with the weight of you got to be right. Like you can't do this on a whim. You can't just think that in the moment, well, let's throw a Hail Mary and see what happens. You don't want to not only lose the challenge in a negative way, and then on top of that, which sometimes is a goal, you don't want to go on the PK right after you've allowed a goal and have the game dynamics totally change. So, you know what? It is, not to dismiss your idea. I think it's a great idea. I'm just trying to formulate what we already know about it, what else we'd want to gain from it, and how we'd go about like doing this and telling it behind the scenes. Because to your point, we don't know much about that situation. Maybe what we need is a camera in that video coach's room to see what they see, right? In retrospect. Now, obviously, they would not want us giving away anything else besides the challenge. A video room for a team, a hockey team, baseball team, football team, basketball team. Video rooms are sacred places. They do not want cameras and media and external people inside that room who are not part of that team. I don't want to say there's a lot of secrets in there, but there's strategy in there. And I guess strategy is secrets for some teams. Let's see here. My Iowa Cubs play the St. Paul Saints today in St. Paul. I love it. Just logged on. Any new updates with the A's and Howard Terminal? You know what, Frederick? There's not a lot going on in the Oakland side of this. There's really not. And say what you want about comments where both sides are still talking. If that is the case, if there is still more discussion to be had and it's happening, great. But in terms of tangible, understandable, relatable developments that the public can chew on and say, oh, I see that something's happening. There's not much to show for, or there's not much to show and understand here. Now, on the flip side of it, the real development that is happening is what the A's are doing with their efforts in Las Vegas. They're lobbying. They're trying to see how much public money they can get in the state of Nevada and in the county for a ballpark in Las Vegas, and they'll know the answer because this legislative session ends in June. And so they will understand, here's what the options look like in Oakland, here's what the options look like in Las Vegas. Up to this point, I don't think they've known what's even possible in Las Vegas. It was a conversation. It had no corners to it. Like they didn't know the definition of here's what it would look like if we do this. They're about to find that out. Ultimately, they're going to come to this situation right here. Well, we've got this and we've got this. This one's going to do this for us. This one's going to do that for us. I think they've gotten Howard Terminal to a certain point where it's pretty much understood. Here's what it's going to take. Here's what it's going to cost. Here's how we're going to finish this off. There's a few things that are very undecided, like how the infrastructure money is going to come in, how much more it's going to go up, how much affordable housing is this site going to necessitate. There's a legal threshold which it has to meet. From as far as I understand, we are way beyond the legal threshold of affordable housing for the project. Now it's a matter of what's agreeable for both sides. More so, what is satisfactory for the city of Oakland in terms of affordable housing. And for the A's, what number is the maximum that actually works for the numbers and the math of this project? So, again, to understand all of this, we're coming to a point where I think as much work as could be done in Oakland is done. It's almost like the homework is not due until June or July, and the project is already finished. You just haven't turned it in yet. Now, the project and the homework in Las Vegas, it's not done yet. You can't know yet. And I think that they're going to come to a conclusion on which one seems more worthwhile to pursue at a certain point. Real quick, I made a video and posted it earlier today saying that the A's had spent up to this point about $100 million in their efforts to stay in Oakland, and quickly saw some people easily understand that, okay, that is what it is. It doesn't mean that they're staying. It doesn't mean that we know the future, clear cut. But my point in sharing that is to show you that no matter what they've said, no matter what they've not said, you don't spend $100 million on something that you're not interested or you're just doing for show or you're doing procedurally. Like, that's a significant amount of money, and it could have gone somewhere else, even if you're saying, well, it's a tax write-off or it's a business expense. Maybe, but if you move away, you get nothing for that $100 million, or on average $18 to $20 million a year. I also understand that, it does not mean that you are instantly headed to or instantly staying in Oakland or headed to Las Vegas. It doesn't mean anything up to this point. It doesn't mean anything moving forward from this point. But up to this point, it means that you've at least put your money where your mouth is in trying to facilitate this process, paying for the entire EIR, paying for a staff of lawyers and executives that go out and push this project and do the research, and hiring the architectural firm and the design firm. I mean, none of this stuff is free. Nobody says, well, we'll just do this for you as a favor. Nobody does that. So it was only my point to share that the A's have put forth an effort in this. I know some people would rather have it be all done at this juncture. Me too. Obviously, I'd rather it all be signed, sealed, and delivered. Go to Howard Terminal, put a shovel in the ground. But to the point, it's just to show you that those out there who say no effort has happened, here's something. And probably here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest effort you could see. More than anything actually said is the $100 million spent since November of 2018. Brody, what would be my honest reaction if the Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup? I'll tell you, Riley, it would have been a much stronger reaction had it been their first year of existence when they went to the Stanley Cup final. Like, that would have blown my mind. Expansion team wins title in a major sports league. Unbelievable. You know what? I would kind of say not it's about time, but they've been very competitive. They've been knocking on the door for a couple years. Didn't make the playoffs last year, right? So, look, they're talented. They still have a great core. I know that they're going through the transition of figuring out how to keep everybody, how to deal with that hard salary cap. But I'll tell you, my reaction would not be surprised. It would also not be angry either. To be honest, if you're a Sharks fan right now, there are more pressing issues close to home. It's interesting how in the competitive days of the 2010s, and every year you're in the playoffs, you try to figure out who's the Sharks' rival. Is it Vancouver in the early 2010s? Or even going back to the late 2000s, is it Anaheim? How about the mid-2010s? Is it the Los Angeles Kings? Is it the late 2010s, the Las Vegas Golden Knights? Who is our main rival? Well, you know what? Right now, I don't even care who the rival is. Welcome, Seattle. You're not a rival. The Sharks have enough on their plate to figure out, to steer this team back in the right direction. I'm very curious to see what pick they ultimately get. And in about a month, we'll know. We'll have the lottery draft, or the lottery numbers. The draft numbers will be picked in lottery fashion. I've got to figure out how to say that. And ultimately, later in the summer, we will have the draft. And you'll kind of... I really do think that once the picks are figured out, once the selections are lined up, we'll know who the picks are going to be. I mean, I think top 3, 4, 5 are pretty set. And I would really hope that the Sharks end up top 3. I mean, I think even being a 5th pick at this point, it's just going to frustrate a lot of people. There's no question about it. It's going to make people uneasy, And it's I'm going to say it's somebody's fault. I mean, it's a lottery. Even if you finish last, you still only have a 25.5% chance of picking first. So I hope for them that something beneficial comes out of a couple rough seasons in a row, but especially this one. You're right there at the bottom of the standings. This is an unprecedented draft class. Go capitalize on this. The stars are aligning for you. It's not been in a pretty way, but now at the end of this storm, you're like, whoa, look at the sun. Is the sun going to beam right down on me and on us? Are we going to get a pick and a player that matters? I certainly hope so. But again, in terms of like this question and the rivalry situation and like rivals, I'm going to tell you, rivals don't matter as much to the Sharks right now. Like, it'll be fun to get competitive again and to pick out the team that you're ascending with and competing with to win the Pacific Division. But at this point, rival conversation off the table. restructuring conversation, rebuilding conversation, definitely prominent. All right, let's see what else is out there. Hello. Oh, hey, Ronald. In the process of setting up your own home studio, I wish you the best of luck. I haven't actually been in my own home studio in a week or two. Been a little bit busy with like real TV studios, not just the Brazil special. Timothy, what's going on? Orioles wild card? Texas can't score 10 runs a game all year long. Oh, it's the Bochy effect. I mean, look, Texas there's another team that has spent a large sum of money, and they want to be competitive. I feel like Texas, they see what Houston's doing. They mostly want to overtake Houston. They also want to win the division, go to the playoffs, make a deep run, but I feel like they might be taking all these years of Astros success personally, being in the same state. Wait a second. Angels are making the wild card without a doubt? Come on. The AL West is so difficult. So difficult. I'm here to tell you, star potatoes. Dave Stewart made this prediction, and when he said it, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But then I thought, actually, might be realistic. I don't know that it's far-fetched to think that the Angels are going to have, well, how should I say this? I think it's reasonable to predict that the A's could, not will, but could end up with a better record than the Angels this year. I know that, and we know where the A's are at, and hopefully they've already hit the bottom out stage and they're on the ascent here in 2023. I really do feel that, honestly. I really do. Even look at this first homestand in the last series, playing a very tough Cleveland team. And every game is decided by the slimmest of margins. 1-run game, walk-off game. Yeah, extra inning game, walk-off game. And then yesterday, more extra innings, and Cleveland got a couple, and A's couldn't catch up. So I'm not telling you the A's are going to be some superior surprise team. I think they're in the 70-win category. Somewhere in the 70-win total is where I think they'll be. Again, until I see the Angels with a pitching staff and a bullpen that can hold leads and preserve wins for Ohtani and company, I mean, they can score runs. I just don't know if that translates always into winning games. The race for the tank standings is heating up. What's your thoughts? Windy City hockey. I guess I should probably pull it up here. Should I do that? Here, give me a second. Let me pull up the standings. Oh, you know what? Somebody joined the super chat. Let me do this first, and then I will look at the standings. Oh, MM Forever. Always appreciate you being here, especially on the rare Thursday afternoon live stream. Sorry, I'm just checking my text messages here and making sure that my son or wife don't actually need me right now. That's why I'm here. I've got free time. Would you still be a Sharks fan if they moved to San Francisco in the Chase Center if they couldn't get a new stadium in San Jose? You see that happening down the road. That is interesting. Now, I'm assuming that you're predicting that because of some land battle with the city of San Jose, county of Santa Clara. Like, I want to state this from the very beginning of my reaction to that. I don't think the Sharks have any desire to move anywhere outside of their current building. I think they love what they've done there. They love the energy that the building has always provided. And I know in recent years, the team struggles and everything else in the world have not made it what it has always been. And honestly, what I know it will get back to being very soon. But they love its location. They love its size. They love its ability to, have concerts and other events, as well as facilitate the hockey team. Like, that building is so perfect. You get into a forever home type situation. Honestly, if you're the San Francisco Giants, where their stadium is located, like, they'll never move. In my lifetime, I guarantee they will never move or want to build anywhere else. They'll fix up Oracle Park. They'll keep improving on it. But that location is like home run, literally, baseball analogy. And I also feel the same way for the Warriors. Now, granted, they're not in the exotic arena that they initially envisioned for San Francisco. You remember they wanted to be out on the bay, like on an actual pier is where they were going to build their arena initially. It's very difficult to do. Look at the Oakland A's. They're having a tough enough time, and they're actually past this point. They've gotten it all approved to build on the estuary, right? But it was such a difficult deal. The Warriors said, you know what? We'll never get this passed. We're going to move a little bit inland and get this land a couple blocks south of Oracle Park. Anyway, long story short, you get into these forever home type situations, and I think Chase Center is a forever home type situation for the Warriors. I think SAP Center is a forever home type situation for the San Jose Sharks. That's another aspect of all this. They've only ever been San Jose. I know what you're going to say. What about the first 2 years of the Cow Palace? That had to be that way because there was really nowhere else in the Bay Area that they could have their own spot that already existed. I mean, you think about late 80s, early 90s, there was the Coliseum Arena, which the Warriors used, and I don't know at that point if it could even make ice or if it was like the Sharks needed the Cow. I can't believe I'm saying this. The Sharks needed the Cow Palace. They needed it to be their launching pad. Just the Cow Palace. Sorry, I'm getting. Can you smell that? That's the Cow Palace smell. Somebody the other day, I said, have you ever been there? A hockey person I was talking to. They said no, and it's like just go there someday, stop by, walk in, and envision a hockey game there. Like it just whatever. But it was cool, right? It was different. It was where they launched. But they needed that to buy themselves time to go build the tank, San Jose Arena, Compaq Center, HP Pavilion, all the different names it's been over the years. I don't think the Sharks want to move. They don't want to move away from their home. They don't want to move away from their name. Like they have largely claimed Santa Clara County, Silicon Valley, the South Bay, like whatever you want to call the entire 408-831 area code region. And honestly, and fans come down from the East Bay, fans come down from the peninsula. I always give a ton of credit to fans who come all the way from Marin County to go to Sharks games. That's a haul. It's a long drive, but they do, and I love it. So to the point here, I only see them leaving San Jose if it were a last case scenario, like a worst case scenario. If somebody forced them out, literally somehow like evicted them. And I don't want to speak for too many people. I don't even know what the possibilities are. I'm not saying anything is impossible here. Okay. So I want to make that clear. But I see what you see too. Like if I'm Chase Center and I know that they need a place to play, and maybe even if it's on a temporary basis, if like look at the Coyotes in Glendale. That got really messy really fast, but that was, from what I understand, a city of Glendale who was like, we've had enough. And a hockey team in the way it's been operated who may not have been as timely on their payments and organized as they should be. Look, it's possible. These things happen. Am I predicting this? No, but to your point, like I don't see that being entirely impossible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I am saying it's probably not likely. But yeah, I think Chase Center would look at the Sharks and say, well, come on over. Now, I'm not certain if currently they have the ability to make ice, maintain ice. That's a big deal for anywhere you go. You can't just pick an arena and say, well, we can move here. A hockey rink needs a ton of infrastructure that if it doesn't exist, you really can't just slap that in overnight or on a whim. Like that is a major construction project. So I'm actually not sure. Do they do ice events at Chase Center? Can they even facilitate that? I know there was some question about even Golden One Center in Sacramento when it was constructed. There was a debate. Will they have ice making facilities? Will they not? So look, I see that as the only turnkey place, well, that they could move. Well, I know Oakland's got an empty arena up the road, but I think Chase Center would be the more lucrative push, and I think they would make a bigger play for it. Look, we might be talking about this. I'll conclude my thoughts with saying, whatever this thought is, I don't see this in 1 year, 5 years. We're talking about way down the road, maybe. But again, all of this, and I don't want to speak for anybody, all of this needs to be prefaced by the fact that, like, if you're the Sharks, you've put tens of millions of dollars into the tank. In fact, I'll end it with this fact. Team president Jonathan Becker, he told me at the beginning of this hockey season, we were talking about the tank and improvements. More money has been spent on upgrading SAP Center since it was built than it actually cost to totally build it from scratch back in 91, 92, 93. Think about that for a second. They've spent more money upgrading it and keeping it up than they initially did to build it. Like, inflation costs are different now, but still, that's perspective for you. So why would you ever want to walk away from that, or your fan base, or your sponsors, or your community that you've worked for 30 plus years trying to build that? I don't think you want to walk away from it. But in a last case scenario, sure, I guess that's possible. Ooh, I went long on that one, but sorry, forever. You got me. You got me interested in that one. That was good. I like that one. All right, let me pull up the NHL standings. Give me 1 second on that, and then we can. I don't want you to see all my sign-in information there. Sure, take my password. There's really nothing on this website that I use, but okay. Let's scale that over. Give me 1 second. I think we're good. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we've got the current standings here. Obviously, we're at the top. By the way, let's just have a quick glance at the top. Boston at 125 points. My goodness. And they've got 5 games left to go. Carolina having a great season. Congrats to Bernsey and company on that. New Jersey and Timo Meier, they're obviously in. Las Vegas, 104 points. Good on them. Rangers, Oilers, Leafs, Kings are in. Todd McClellan and company. The Avs, no surprise there. Maybe at a lesser spot than even the top 5, 6, 7 spots. But hey, this is one of those deals where they can be right there. Now that they understand what winning a cup is like, they've got that experience. They'll know when to turn it on. They'll be fine. Let's see. We'll go down the list here. Seattle. Seattle can clinch tonight. I think I saw that. If they win, I think they're playing the Desert Dogs. Are they playing them? And then, okay, let's get to where we need to be here. All right, the Sharks are 4 points out of last place. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that beyond points, if there is a tie for the final spot here, the tiebreaker is regulation wins, which the Sharks, I think, are relatively low in that category. Does it have it here? Regulation. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh yeah, that would be regulation wins. There we go. Yep, that's what that column is. Oh, actually, nope. Looks like Anaheim with fewer regulation wins. These last couple of Sharks games, 3 wins in a row, and even the overtime loss with a point in the last game. They've been a little costly, haven't they? So you've got a crowded bottom of the standings here. I think you can kind of cross off Montreal as emerging into this bottom 4 here. But you've got 3 teams at 56, and then you've got the Sharks at 60. Yeah, and yeah, you know what? I was right. The reason, now that I actually take a deeper glance at this, that's the reason Anaheim is in last. It's just a matter of regulation wins. They've got the fewest, Columbus with 15 and 17. So the Sharks, if they tied, I mean, they're probably, this right here, that 13 for Anaheim is I would say concern, but if it comes to a tie situation, as of right now, Anaheim and Columbus would get a higher percentage of the final spot and the ultimate first pick. 5 games left. Oh, and Anaheim has played 1 more game. That's also important. So they only have 4 games left. Okay. That's also part of the equation. You can kind of see where this is going. I think a lot of people will revisit the last 4 Sharks games and now look at this and say, well, even if you only beat Arizona, right, with the Noah Gregor hat trick and everybody kind of went off and great stories, right? Again, I'm rooting for the people. I'm rooting for the players. I totally am. But the Sharks, I think, in their final 10 games had 9 playoff contending opponents. They had 1 non-playoff contending opponent, and that was these Desert Dogs. And they won that game, but then also beat, Las Vegas, Colorado, Winnipeg, right? Or no, lost in overtime to Colorado, but also beat Winnipeg. So my point is here, you can easily imagine, had you only beat Arizona, and you take away the other 2 wins, so there's 4 points. You take away an overtime loss, which gains you a point. You're 5 points fewer than 60. You are at 55. That's where the Sharks would be had they only beat Arizona in this last little stretch. Now, look, this counters everything that I've ever been. Like, I have a hard time looking at that and saying, oh, well, I want you to be in last place. But the flip side of me realizes, like, Bedard and Fantilli are out there. And I know there's a deeper draft class than just that, but those are the ones that I'm sitting on saying, wow, franchise changers right there. All right, let's go back to the old live chat here. I have neglected it, and I apologize for that. Let's see if we can rattle through this. Here's another one from Ryan. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for being on the super chat. Tell Mike Greer, is that Mike GM? Got to give me a tryout. A PTO? Wait, Mike Greer he's not even Mike Greer anymore. He's just Mike GM. I mean, that is his first name. That is his title. I'll blame autocorrect on that one. James chipping in here with some Howard Terminal talk. Has the County of Alameda specified a certain dollar amount they would offer in support of infrastructure? That's a great question. My understanding is no. My understanding is that we do not know any specific details on what or how they would be involved with that. But to answer the if question, it seems to me like that's not an if, that's only a matter of when. And the when relies on when Oakland literally has the binding vote, when Oakland has an agreement with the A's, approves and votes on an agreement with the A's. My understanding is that Alameda County, and you can clearly see why they would take this approach. Why would they get out ahead of Oakland on this and approve anything? Why would they even discuss it? Why would they get into specifics? They want to see what Oakland's going to do first, because this first domino has to fall with the city of Oakland. So I think that's a great question, James. You wonder, like, how much could the project benefit? How much could Alameda County be part of this? And when you say a specified dollar amount, I want to be very clear about what the dollar amount is. This is not raising people's taxes in Alameda County. This is the fact that new properties on the 55-acre Howard Terminal site are going to be new taxpayers. That's where you get the increase of money. This has been one that every time I say it, I try and be very clear about it, because the instant takeaway is that, well, I live in Alameda County. I'm not saying I do right now. I used to. Those of you saying I live in Alameda County, I don't want this to go up. I don't want it to go up for anybody. Well, it's not going up for anybody. Homeowner, property owner, business owner. No, taxes are not going up. Taxes are being expanded because of the new sites, the new properties, the new homeowners, the new businesses, all the new stuff on Howard Terminal. 55 acres that is the higher dollar amount. That's where the tax revenue is created. So I wish I had an answer on that. There might be some conversations behind the scenes. I'm sure the county is looking at it and saying, well, this would be a typical contribution. Here's what we're thinking of. Here's what makes sense. But the best part of Alameda County's involvement is that they've essentially gone out and said, we support this, but we're going to wait until, we're not going to get in the way of this. We're going to support this, but we need the city of Oakland to go first. And that's great. They're staying out of the way. Honestly, as much as I know their interest and I gauge their current interest, now, this could change. Different supervisors, depending on how long this process gets drawn out. One of their supervisors passed away, actually, in recent months. So things could change. It's great to know they're on board. It's interesting to know what that dollar amount is. I think at this point, anything and everything helps. I know the city of Oakland is even looking at the county and saying, we're going to need you. We think we're going to need you. So it's good to know that will not be, at this point, anywhere near the roadblock that we've seen in the last 6-8 months between the A's and the city of Oakland, and that agreement, which we do not have yet. The Angels can't win with Mike Trout and Ohtani on their roster. Now, how in the heck does a team not win with those two? It's not their fault. It is not Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani as the reason why they have not made a playoffs since 2014. Check this out. The Angels have not won a playoff game since 2009. Is that 14 years ago? 14 years, and the Angels have only been in one playoff series. Do you remember that playoff series? Do you even remember the reason why the Angels got in the playoffs in 2014? Oh, how about the Oakland A's? Champions of the entire league standings at the All-Star break. And then the Cespedes trade happened. And then John Lester couldn't pick anybody off in a wild card game. And the A's literally in 2014, they hit the skids so bad down the stretch that they had to win game 162 in Texas to even make the playoffs and get a wild card spot. I don't want to say the A's gave it to the Angels. Angels were good down the stretch, and the Angels beat the A's head-to-head. But, man, the A's dropped the ball in 2014. So then the Angels win the West. Angels go to a ALDS series. They face the Kansas City Royals, who beat the A's in a wild card playoff game with multiple lead changes. And the Royals was 12 or 13 innings. They won a barn burner of a baseball game that could have gone either way. Then the Royals sweep the Angels in the ALDS. Then I think it was the Tigers. They swept the Tigers or whoever it was in the ALCS. They go all the way and don't even lose their first playoff game, the Royals, until the World Series when they faced the Giants. Ultimately lost the World Series to San Francisco. Okay, back to the Angels. Mike Trout has never won a playoff game. He's never been a part of it's amazing. The Angels and Ohtani and Trout just go to show you that sports cannot be won with a single player. And that's why as we look at different teams, I'm a Sharks guy. We talk about potentially landing the number one pick in the NHL draft this summer. Yeah, well, that would be great. But it doesn't mean anything unless you have the complementary pieces to go around it. Let's come closer to home here. Let's talk about the Warriors. The Golden State Warriors never had a Klay Thompson, nor a Draymond Green, nor an Andre Iguodala, nor a Kevin Durant for a certain time period, nor, a lot of the contributing players over the years. If it was just Steph Curry this whole time, if he was the only commonality between 2015 and now, how many titles do they have? And they could have good players during that span, but you need the core pieces. You need the foundational pieces to go along with the superstars. Now, in the Angels' case, it's pretty clear. They score runs. But sometimes their starters give up a lot of runs. And sometimes, even more recently and even more blatantly, their bullpen cannot hold other teams down in the late innings. I present to you the A's beating Shohei Ohtani on opening night. Through 8 innings, through 7 innings, getting 2 hits, right? Ohtani was in there a majority of that time. Ohtani kept the A's silent, struck out 10 A's batters. Ohtani has to come out, though, because he can't throw 175 pitches on opening night. Aaron Loop comes in. The A's get to him. They score twice, bottom of the 8th. Angels bat top of the 9th. Don't score. It's over. 2-1. Ohtani, great job. You allowed 2 hits on 7 innings, 100 pitches or so. Struck out 10, and you lose. It's a team game. So, this is not the correct part of it. You're right. They haven't done what they should be doing with those 2 guys. But the real part of it is that the complementary pieces aren't there. And because of that, that's the reason that the Angels are, and the Astros in the division, and now Seattle is contending in the AL West. It's only going to get harder for these guys to do what they're supposed to do. And if you're Shohei Ohtani, you signed this 1-year deal, $30 million to avoid arbitration, which an arbitrator might have given Shohei more than 30, might have given him 35, but at that point we're penny pinching. He wanted to stay there, wanted to play this out. Angels talked about potential ownership change, selling the team in the last 12 months. Sounds like they're not going to do that anymore. Wanted to build a new ballpark or fix up Angel Stadium or entirely redo it. Sounds like that's not going to happen anymore, at least with the current state of politics down there. So if you're Shohei Ohtani, now Trout is on a long-term deal. He's entrenched. I mean, he could get traded, but he's entrenched. Ohtani is not. His feet are not as deep in the sand as Mike Trout. Would he want to hang on to that forever? I don't know. It's a great conversation. I'll leave it with this. You could almost say that by the end of their careers, if nothing changes and these guys keep playing it out with the Angels and they never really get a chance. I mean, the World Baseball Classic, Trout and Ohtani was so interesting because you're like, oh, here's two guys we've never seen on the baseball stage like they should be nearly every year, but they're not. You know, look at the Padres. Big names, but surrounded by a bunch more other big names and the right players. Let me just say this. Imagine the Oakland A's eye for talent and the way that the Angels spend money. Like imagine if you gave David Forst and Billy Beane over the years, right? You gave that front office, give them Trout and Ohtani to start with, and give them the Angels budget and see what they build around those two players. Ha! That is a back-to-back-to-back World Series title team right there. Yeah. Trout, in the last surge of A's players, put Trout and Ohtani on a team with Chapman, Olsen, Chris Bassett, Frankie Montas, Ramon Laureano. At the deadline, you got a Starling Marte, a Josh Harrison. All that with Trout and Ohtani on the A's. Yeah. So, shows you the shortfall of the Angels. Okay. Let's go back here to the live chat. I keep saying I'm going to zip through it fast, and then I don't. Here's a good one. Whoa. Going to do Giants talk. We'll be quick on this because I don't feel like I've seen enough, nor have I dipped my toes in the pool long enough on this one to really give you the educated answer that I'd want to give. But what I think of the Giants this year, it's a pivotal season for them. 2 years ago, 107 wins. Last year, 81 wins. The whole offseason drama of what you did, but also what you couldn't get done, but also, like, can we establish this? The whole Judge and Correa things, you got to move on. All of a sudden, there was a hair in my mouth. More than you needed to know. It's going to be hard to continue that way. All right, let me start from scratch here. The whole Judge and Correa things, like, they need to be put aside. You need to move on from that. If you're a Giants fan through the course of this season and you keep bringing that up, let's begin with Judge. Did he kind of use the Giants for his leverage and negotiation purposes? Yeah, maybe. And the whole tweet of him in the hotel lobby of San Francisco, and people knew that he's got family in Northern California. It was messy. And what are you supposed to do if you're the Giants? Oh, no, we're not going to talk to you, Aaron Judge, even though you're a free agent, even though we are searching for our next centerpiece franchise player. No, we're not. We know you're just playing us. They have to do due diligence. They had to do that. I don't think poorly of Aaron Judge and his agent and his team for riling Giants fans up. It's part of business, I guess. He was going to do it to somebody else. He just kind of picked the Giants as his hometown team. Could have done it to the A's if he knew that a contract was available to him in Oakland too. It could have done it to any California team, I guess, but especially the Giants because they kind of fit the moment. They were a little bit not vulnerable, but they fit the mold of somebody who might go after him. I get it. I don't blame the Giants for even pursuing it in one bit. Now, fan base getting way overextended and reacting, but I don't blame you for that either because you kind of thought, oh, wow, winter meetings and this might actually happen. And okay, let's move on from that. The Carlos Correa thing. I mean, it's not the Giants' fault that they were the first to wave a flag on this, blow a whistle on this. Look, the Mets were in the same position, and the Mets are a little bit more likely to throw around the money and the coin and the long-term contract. They don't seem opposed to that at all. Like, they've clearly decided that now is when they're gonna write more checks. Even they looked at this and said, we're a little bit concerned. We've got some reservations. I don't want those two things to continue looming over Giants fans as dark shadows. It's ridiculous that, I get it. If you're a Giants fan, you're bummed out because neither one of them worked out. That's fine. Totally okay. Totally okay. Did it stop your team from doing whatever else they were going to do in the offseason? I don't think so. Like, you can't say that, like, what happened. And I love the Giants pitching staff. I think that is the foundation of their team. Positionally and roster-wise, I don't know. Are they even still an 81-win team? I don't know. I mean, there's an argument out there. This is not me being controversial. This is not me inciting something, but Giants and A's this year, can you plainly convince me that one team is going to have a far better record than the other? The Giants should. I don't know if they will. Anyway, I just want to say on behalf of Giants fans, like you should not let the past offseason dwell into this season. And if I'm you, honestly, right now, I think you're in the same spot. You're still looking for a franchise player, but it's so important to build around that franchise player. Maybe that one individual is Shohei Ohtani. Oh my goodness. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up and say it's a sure thing, but why would Ohtani want to come to San Francisco? That's a question. They'd have to prove to him, hey, we're going to get you, but we're also going to build this around you. We've got a good pitching staff intact right now. Bullpen, position players, supporting cast. I think they also would need to recognize that Ohtani in the next 5, 6, 7 years may not be able to do both sides as much. Make his start in the rotation normally fine, but maybe not hit in the lineup 4 days a week or 5 days a week. Maybe he can only hit 2 days as a DH in the lineup. And that's weird, by the way, that I was just thinking, wait, there's no DH in the National League. Oh, yeah, no, there has been for a while. My brain is still trained. So I'm not going to say this year is a wash for the Giants, but I do still think they need to be in building and acquisition mode more than they are thinking that this group is the one that's going to get you to the next step. And I think that's obvious. And I'm also willing to see what, like, sometimes you get a special team. Maybe it is. They've had a weird start to their season, by the way. Oh, here's your opening series. Here's you against the Yankees, and now here you are against another American League team, the White Sox. That's the new format, right? But let them get home. Let them play some National League teams. The division is super tough. Oh, my gosh. What the Dodgers are doing, what the Padres have built. You're almost fortunate that the Rockies have been non-existent for years, and the Diamondbacks kind of the same way. Kind of fortunate that it's only been the Dodgers for a while, and now the Padres. It's not like the AL West where everybody's kind of been on fire at one point or another. So I don't want them to dwell on the winter. Stay focused on the present, see what you got there, but also understand that you really need to start building for the future. And maybe if you're positioning yourself right now to obtain your next centerpiece, go ahead. I think you're right on track. All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, both California Kings are in the same playoffs. Are you talking about the LA Kings and the Sacramento Kings? Well, we just had a Mike Yastrzemski homer there. Or we'll just go old school and say Carl Yastrzemski just hit a jack. 8-3, the Giants have a 5-run lead in the fifth. Okay. You know what? Even more than the LA Kings and the Sacramento Kings, which is good observation by you, how about the fact that this is going to be the first year that the Warriors and the Kings are in the same playoffs? Since 1985, those two teams have been in it. Kings have been in it 10 times. Warriors have been in it 15 times. Never, though, have they actually been in it the same year. So it's not like they've both stunk or they've just never been good, literally, at the identical time. Very cool. I'm happy to see that happen. Giants will have a better record than the A's. Look, they should. They should. But I don't know that that's a guarantee. Like, that isn't, you cannot sit here right now and say that will absolutely happen. And then that's not It's just me being real. I think it goes to show you, like, the A's could trend slightly better than they were last year, and the Giants could trend down from even where they were last year at a textbook 500 team. But I also think the Giants could be better. And more importantly for the Giants, they're positioned to add their next centerpiece. And again, that's the part I would want Giants fans to focus on. It's just, who's a better manager in Major League Baseball, Kotsay or Gabe Kapler? I'll tell you this. I like the fact that former players, like each of them, are in these roles. I like the fact that both of these men are when I say obviously younger in life, but I truly feel like the commonality is they can relate to their players. Now, how they go about it maybe is different. I can't say I've spent any time with Gabe Kapler. I do remember Mark Kotsay very well as a player. He was around when I first started covering the A's in the 05, 06, 07 era. And now seeing him as a manager is great. And I think that they're dealing with two totally separate set of circumstances here. I mean, you can't say that Kotsay or Kapler go to bed at night thinking about any of the same things. I mean, other than trying to win baseball games and strategy stuff, but like their teams and their situations are totally different. So to say who's better, impossible. But to say that I like them both, easy, right? I think the Bay Area, once again, and you go from a situation where for so many years the Giants had Bochy and the A's had Melvin, and those were older gentlemen. You know, both obviously players too, right? But not like fresher out of their playing careers. But in the same way that I said I could see Bochy and Melvin each being around for years, and they did, and now they're both managing different teams, I could see Kotsay and Kapler each being around their current roles for a long time. I really could. I think that would actually benefit both teams. Consistency, the right people for the jobs. When Kotsay took over, it was certainly a different group. Like, he was hired during the work stoppage before the A's had traded away Chapman, Olsen, Bassett, all that stuff. But I think if you're Gabe Kapler, there should be a little bit of pressure, right? You've taken over in a spot where you're competitive enough to go out and win and do some damage, but it's not going to be easy. So, impossible question, but I think cool conversation, right? Cool conversation to have. Q, thanks, buddy. You like how I call you Q because I know your pronunciation is in your Twitter bio. I'm still too intimidated to say it. Should I try it here? Should I go to your Twitter here? Let me try and say it. Let me try and say your name for the first time. I'm a professional broadcaster. I should be able to do this. It's pronounced Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl. But wait. Quetzalcoatl, but your name's different here on. Is this a shorter name on the YouTube channel? Quetzalcoatl. I know you're seeing, the thing is I know you're going to make something out of that, aren't you? You're going to make a video of this, aren't you? I'm going to find this on Twitter. Like, I bet you it's probably in the next day or two. I mean, actually knowing you, it'll be on there by tonight, but please don't rush on this, okay? You're a busy guy, all right? You're probably going to make something. Here, use this part too. All right. Q, I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work. Anthony Rendon's suspension. We're past the cycle of that, I guess. The suspension's probably going to be over. If it's not yesterday, soon. Has it already been the 4 games? The more I think about it, it's easy to say a couple things. I see MM Forever in the super chat. MM, I'll get to you next. It's easy to say a couple things as you look back on the Anthony Rendon situation. Like, you cannot call a fan over and then grab a fan and then take some kind of a swipe or a swing at a fan. I mean, he must have missed him on purpose. You can't have a guy in your grasp and do this and actually not hit him. Like, that's It's impossible. Like, you're that close. You're a very coordinated individual. He didn't jump on you either. You could, you could have like went straight for his face. Like, anyway, I'll also say this: if you're a sports fan, just because you pay for a ticket, you do not get the right to do anything or everything that you want. Same way that if you get a hotel room or rent a car, you don't get to crash the car and say, well, I rented it and that happened, so not my fault. You don't get to do that. You don't get to trash a hotel room and then check out and then they don't send you a $2,000 bill to fix things. You're responsible, and you're responsible for your words and actions in a public setting like that. Now, you'd hope that in a public setting, nobody would cross the line without security there, without other fans to be like, yo, Mr. or Mrs. Usher, that fan over there has all game. Like, this is terrible. We got to stop this. Let the ushers take care of it. It's not fans' responsibility to police other fans. But I'm just saying, in a public space, like a baseball game at the Coliseum, you cannot, Mr. or Mrs. Fan, you're not the center of attention here. You should not be the one to start a conflict, right? You want to heckle people? Fine, that's part of the game. You want to yell something funny? Yeah, or even if like, I'm not going to stop you from even saying something that was like inappropriate for a youngster. Okay, I mean, it happens. As a father, I don't want that. I don't want to take my kid to any sporting event and have drunk dude three rows over, 3 aisles over, whatever, 3 sections over, having to explain to my son, what's he talking about? I don't prefer that. But I'll even let you go that far. But when it's over and over and over and you're really riding somebody, okay. Now, I don't know that happened. We don't have the entire documentation. All I saw was Rendon go up to a fan, ask him to come even closer so he could grab him, so he could do that. It's also weird that none of Rendon's teammates behind him, did anything. They all just kept walking down the tunnel, Ohtani included. Like, if I'm Rendon's teammate and I care about Rendon, I'm like, yo, dude, no. You're not thinking right now. I'm not letting you do this. I'm pulling you away. Nobody did that. It literally let him sink his own ship. So he was in the moment, which I also understand too. The fan, the spectator caught the athlete in the moment. We're all humans. This stuff happens. So let's not pretend that, just because your paycheck is what it is, that you are immune to this. You're absolutely not. This stuff is bound to happen. But looking back on it, I'll never side with a fan who kept crossing the line. I'll also never side with a player who goes out of their way to go into the stands to physically do something to a fan. Now, if the fan physically starts something with the player, all bets are off. You as the player, you don't know who they are, what they've got on them, what their intentions are. You do whatever you want to defend yourself and stop or eliminate the situation immediately. If that fan runs on the field to do something and grabs Rendon like that, Rendon, put him out. Simple as that. But the other way around, I mean, look, even a measly broadcaster like myself, there's constantly people who will say something mean in person or usually on social media. A lot of times where I would say, I want to respond. Nope, not going to do it. For the things I see, there's a lot of stuff I probably don't even see. You have to be better than that. You, the competitor, you, the person who's used to being in the spotlight, you have to be better than that. So, suspension's probably over. Maybe this point is moot already, but just looking back on it, my feelings were pretty clear-cut in the moment, like right after I saw that happen, right after I understood how it played out. They've not changed. This just cannot. I hope stuff like this, I always cringe, but I hope we see less of these types of things over the years. I think, going back to the whole Pistons malice at the palace of the early 2000s, we've not seen anything large scale like that in a long time. But fans fighting is ugly enough, each other, but fans and physical altercations with athletes, it makes me cringe. It's just unfortunate every time it happens. Okay, MM Forever Thanks for being in the super chat. Any chance you and Zenny Abraham do a show together on Howard Terminal? He's very pessimistic on the project. Would love to hear your guys' perspective. Sure. I mean, I've seen him come across my channel. I've seen some of his videos. I'm familiar with who he is. I don't know him. We've never talked. I know he's been very present in some of the city council open sessions, like in terms of calling in, having some of the public comments. So I know he's got a background of especially, city projects and financing, and he seems very well versed. I don't know him. And I know people have asked, would you do something? You're not the first person. The answer is, I guess, sure. I typically collaborate and connect with people who I've come across, usually in real life or for whatever reason. I've not made the connection yet. As far as the pessimism, I mean, everybody's got a different take and they know different things and they have a different viewpoint. So, I mean, I don't. That would not be a reason why I would stray away. There's a lot of people who come up to me very pessimistic, and even if I'm optimistic, which I think I'm just, right down the middle on how things are going. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything or change your opinion. I'm trying to paint pictures for you so you can better understand it. That's kind of been my thing the entire time. So, yeah, I mean, I would not be opposed to that in the least. Not at all. All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, Q with a vegetarian question. We are really going deep here. Having a hard time eating less meat. Any tips? Is there a meat patch I can get? Like a smoker trying to quit. I gotta have here. Oh, there we go. Q. Should I read your comment again? Is there a meat patch I can get, like a smoker trying to quit? You can get Beyond products. I know they make like an Impossible Burger, and Impossible Burgers are okay, and there's black bean patties and stuff and burgers. The Beyond brand of products, I really like. The Beyond Burgers, good. In fact, I'll tell you, really good, but I'll tell you what I think their Beyond Sausage is the greatest product. I think their Beyond Sausages, like their bratwurst, I think they have hot links maybe. They also have like Beyond taco meat, I want to say too. Oh, sorry, a little distracted. Umpires, people yelling in the Giants-White Sox game. A lot of yelling. Ooh. Oh, White Sox dugout and the umpire. Okay. Beyond meat products. That's what I would recommend you. Just try it. Substitute it. Barbecue a Beyond Meat burger and see what happens. To me, it's a pretty close substitute. Now, I understand people say, well, that's not really the healthiest thing for you. It's not that much healthier than a traditional beef patty. Oh, I know. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not pretending that it's a salad. I'm really not. But in terms of if you're just trying to cut down on the actual red meat, that would be my tip. Try with the sausages. Try with the Beyond patties. Oh, Liam Hendricks ringing the victory bell. Done with his cancer treatments. I'm going to say for now, and I hope forever. Ugh, I'm getting all the feelings here. Gosh, you don't want anybody to go through that. You really don't. But you especially, like me knowing Liam Hendricks and remembering when he left the A's, and I'm so happy for him, like, go do your thing in Chicago and continue your career. And a guy who was DFA'd multiple times by the A's. A guy who's been through enough life stuff professionally already. And there's some other things with he and his wife Christy that I won't even go into, but they've had some challenges. Everybody's got challenges, but they've had some distinct challenges over the years. And then this. Again, nobody deserves this. But especially Liam Hendricks, and especially in the middle of an offseason. Look, there's no good time for this, but he's just getting ready to start a season, and then, you can't. Now, the good news is I've seen that the White Sox have said that they didn't even want to put him on the 60-day DL because they were hoping he'll be back by June. My thought is this. I only hope he'll be back as soon as possible because that means he's healthy as soon as possible. But even if you told me it would take Liam Hendricks half the season, most of the season, all the season, and the trade-off would be 100% healthy, 100% cleared, that's all I would ask for. I love this dude, man. He has exhibited himself as a true professional on and off the field. And people ask him difficult questions. He's got great answers. I know he's got a future in this game after playing. He does. I mean, he'll selfishly, same thing I always do with the Stephen Votes of the world, even with the Jed Lowrys of the world who just retired. Be a broadcaster, please. Get in our business. Help us translate the game with your expertise to viewers. Liam Hendricks could absolutely do that. And the Australian accent wouldn't hurt either. And I've told him this before, and if I'm not going to bother him right now, but I hope he'll never forget it either, that someday when my son is old enough, can make the 18-hour flight, or maybe not, or my wife and I can go. I've never been to Australia. And there's nothing more I would like to do than go there at a same time he's there. I'm not going to I'm not going to impose on him and say, you need to tour me around the entire time, but I would love to spend some time in Australia with Liam Hendricks. That would be awesome. But what would be more awesome right now would be to see him back on the field, doing his thing, and being completely healthy. Yeah, the victory bell, seeing that, super special, and I hope it's the start of a lot more good things to come for him. Can we have the call-in number? You know what? Let me see what time it is here. I don't know that I'm going to have a lot more free time. I don't want to do this, and then let me see where everybody's at here in my world. If I do this now, I may only be able to take a call or two. Looks like I should have some more time here. I'm not. Let me get through some more live comment or some live chat comments here, and then we'll see where we're at. I appreciate everybody for hanging around. By the way, you know what? One thing I typically do is just check in like on the stream health. Oh yeah, all right. There's some people here. There's some stream health going on. That's sometimes I've been streaming for like 20 minutes, and then little did I know that the internet broke up 20 minutes ago, and choppy or buffering, all that stuff. Seems like we've been good here. Oh, looks like we got it. Everyone goes with Q. Quetzalcoatl. You got it right. Oh, pronounce the L silent. Oh, I see. Quetzalcoatl. Well, I can't wait to see the video that you're probably going to make of that. Do I also have to say last dive bar too? Does that? You know what? I just had the new LDB shirt. It's in the wash. Otherwise, I was going to put it on for this. So, somebody had a really good comment here that I really wanted to respond to. What do I think of the A's? I've done that. Somebody was asking if I get recognized in public, which is I would love to talk about that because it's, there it is. Okay. Mikey wondering, Brody, are you recognized in public often? Yes. I mean, more so than probably the average person who does a job that doesn't include, like this, sitting in front of a camera all day, YouTube, television, social media, multiple platforms. Yes, I would say often enough. I mean, there's a lot of times where I know somebody is looking at me and they know who I am, but they don't approach me, and that's fine too. I mean, I see people that I recognize in public, and I almost never go up to them unless I know them or vice versa or whatever. So I respect when I can kind of get that heat sense of like, oh, I see them over there. They're talking about me. They're both staring. They're both looking. Okay, one just pointed. Or a lot of times I'll hear my name off in the distance, is that, and I hear it, is that Brody? And it's fine. Like, yeah, I know, honestly, let me tell you two things about it. First off, I am always paranoid about having a less than awesome interaction with somebody in public. I keep a high standard. Like if I meet you somewhere, I'm out getting drinks like last night with my wife, out in Pleasanton. And if somebody, just comes up and says, hi, now look, I'm in the middle of date night with my wife. So I don't have all the time in the world for you here, but at the same respect, I don't want to dismiss you. I want to say hi. Hey, how's it going? How about the game tonight? Whatever, real quick. And but I'm so paranoid of being that guy. I'm so paranoid of being a jerk. A jerk. I'm so paranoid of that because I know that's a stereotype, like in the public eye, that some people just, I met that guy once. He was a real dummy. I don't want to be that. And I'm not that. It's just that sometimes opportunities and situations, sometimes people will be yelling at me like 5 seconds before we're about to come back from a commercial. And that's fine. Like if I have the 5 seconds, I'll give it to you. But sometimes I'm like focused, or I have earpieces on at SAP Center or the Coliseum doing a show, and I literally can't hear you. Like you're 5 feet away. Hey, Brody, like I got to, what? I got to take these off. So just know that I truly want every interaction to be good. The other part about it is that I know that there's a chance that somebody will recognize me, or I'll give you another example. Yesterday, I got a new bowling ball. Love it. Right? I'm so happy to. I didn't know it could get drilled while I waited. I thought I was going to have to drop it off, but anyway, shout out to the pro shop at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. They drilled my ball. I actually bowled a 2 games with it actually, and did quite well. But they're asking me as I fill out the form to get my ball drilled. Okay, what's your name? Brody, Brazil. And there's like 10 other people in the room, or behind me or around me, or just within an earshot, right? And they could probably like, oh, what? Who? I recognize that. So you always, I'm just always on alert when I'm in public, whether it's grocery store, whether it's farmer's market, whether it's a restaurant, or wherever, Home Depot, wherever I go. I always feel like I don't go out totally disheveled. I mean, look, I'm a tired dad a lot too. Like when I go pick up my son from school, I'm looking like a mess half the time. But I feel like I'm always on guard in public because I don't want to be caught in a regrettable like situation, or even how I act, or if I don't want to do something that's pointless and stupid that I wish I didn't do. It's a responsibility, right? It's kind of like what I was saying earlier about a professional athlete and handling themselves in the heat of the moment situation. I kind of have to do that too. When you're front-facing anybody, it doesn't even have to be in the sports world. If you're the CEO of a company or the spokesperson of something, you represent yourself and brands and your family, and you probably owe it to yourself to try and always be aware of that. So when you see the video of me freaking out in like 6 months, don't play this. Don't flash back to this. I'm just kidding. I don't think that'll happen. How do you like? I used to like it medium well. Now I like it on somebody else's plate. Eric, okay? I feel bad, Eric. Maybe you're asking like in a serious way, or maybe you're just chirping. And either way is fine. I haven't eaten meat in 4 years now, more than 4 years, I think. Why isn't the green on the white and gray uniform Kelly green? Why isn't the green on the white and gray uniform? I don't know, Jesus, what the question is there. And I also have to like probably look at it. If you could be any animal. You know what? I like giraffes. Giraffes seem chill. Giraffes are also like, they're just not at the same level as everybody else. Their head being way up here, I don't think they have to deal with the same BS. Like they're just their heads are in the clouds. You know, I don't think like giraffes don't have to hunt other animals. I guess they unfortunately do get hunted. They just seem chill, right? Am I wrong about that? I don't know. I've always liked giraffes. Cool looking. They got the cool face. So yeah. Yeah. Can I give a shout out to me? Yeah, I would like to, you know what? And Q, I don't know what's going on. I've not communicated with Brian. I saw that he was taking a step back from captaining the ship, so to speak, at Last Dive Bar. And I'm not going to get personal and ask too many questions. We have this in pro sports too. I see somebody dealing with something. That's all I need to know. All I need you to know is that whatever it is, I hope it gets resolved. I hope things get better. I know you're a smart person. I know you've got support around you. I hope that all is factoring into the resolution of whatever is not right, whatever you need, you take whatever you need. Or anything we can provide, you just let us know. I know people sometimes feel guilty of needing to take their time and their space, or that they owe people something. And that's fine. It's fine to feel that way, but know that that's not how it is. So you take your time, you do what you need, you come back just as you were when you're ready. So Brian, I wish you the very best, buddy. Okay, Forever, appreciate you back in the super chat. And again, I should just explain that every contribution to the super chat goes to bettering this YouTube channel. For example, recently had to go out and buy, of course I did, some more equipment for the remote live streams that I do from the office. I had to change the audio interface a little bit. So I try not to spend my own money on that. I try and work hard on this channel until I get enough to put more back into the infrastructure of the channel. Okay, but your comment here. Zenny just put up a video announcing the A's will spend $100 million to build in Las Vegas for the ballpark. They will spend $100 million to build in I don't know what that means though. If it was countering something I said, because I had just said this morning, I just repeated what was in a prior video, that the A's have spent $100 million since 2018 on their efforts for Howard Terminal. But you understand, I think at least $10 million was on the EIR. They employ a staff of people and lawyers to facilitate the project getting to this point. I mean, we've already been through BCDC. We've already been through multiple lawsuits against the EIR. There's design, there's consultation, there's the A's paying for Oakland City staff to do a lot of this work to put it together. And I'm not trying to influence anybody's instinct on this of what may happen. I'm just spelling out what has happened up to this point. And this doesn't get talked about at all or enough. And now that we've reached a big milestone number of 100 million, like, it's significant to at least know that that's been out there. Granted, it's kind of like a car that you've leased. At some point, you've spent money on it and you've owned it for a while, but you don't want it anymore, so you just turn the car in, you don't pay anymore, and you paid some money, probably more than you should have for that lease, but now you're turning it in, and you move on from it. So I'm not here to say that it's spending $100 million in Oakland to stay is any guarantee. I'm just saying that it has happened, and I don't know how it factors into Las Vegas here and this, but I'd be curious to know. So let me know in more detail what that's all about. Or maybe I should just watch as soon as I'm done with this live stream. Oh, the lettering on the uniform is dark green instead of, oh, yes, Jesus. Now I totally understand what you're saying. Okay, I did a video on this, and I think it was from last year. Basically, you know what, because we're here, and because I think I have the technology to do this, let me go back. Try and find this here. I think it was called Optimal A's Jersey. No, that's not it. I know I believe Tony Kemp Let me try this here. Brody Brazil, channel, Kelly Green. Maybe that was it. Yes, Kelly, this is my look. Okay. This is going to be really weird for me to be watching my own YouTube videos. Okay, but I made this video here. Kelly Green, a primary A's color. Because to your point, this is what somebody had come up with in terms of a design and a rendering. And actually, look at this photo so it was from Brad Wolf Design. Look at Tony Kemp in the all Kelly Green and gold. Like, that looks good. I'm still digging that. So to your point, what if they ditched the Hunter dark green and just did Kelly Green? I also think there's a way to do dark green, Kelly Green, and gold. But just like use the dark green as a secondary color. That's probably the answer here. Like, you can keep a dark green. Whoa, did I just burp on my own live stream? It's embarrassing. I can't play the sound effect now, but can't even control myself. But I do think that the Kelly Green could be a primary color. I would say go back on this video. It's one of the underrated bangers that I do love here on the channel, and I think you're onto something. Let's see here. Let's see what other comments. I skipped a whole bunch. Now I'm seeing that I was way behind, and I missed so many comments here on the live chat. So I apologize to everybody that I skipped over. Let's go to this one here. Do you believe that Matvei Michkov is an option for the Sharks, say if they slip past third in the draft? Okay, so here's what I understand about Michkov is that he is under contract in the KHL until 2025 or through 2025. Give me a second here. I feel like this is something that I should look up here. Michkov, KHL contract. Okay, so let's go to the old Google machine. During the season, Michkov signed a 5-year contract with St. Petersburg that'll keep him in Russia, until the 2025-26 season. So here's an article from The Athletic. I don't know if there's any more. Has a contract. I mean, this has been a big issue raised. Like, they really like the player, but Michkov staying in KHL for the 2023-24 season. Okay, so next year you already know that that's not a possibility. So my point in all of this is, if you're willing to take a delayed effect on it, I think the Sharks need to get said player and get them in and get them impacting ASAP. I think the Sharks, in years past, you say, okay, well, we're thickening up our pipeline. I hate to say it, but they need somebody who's closer to the end of the pipeline than the beginning or the middle of it. So when you say an option, I don't know that that's, even if he is on the table, I don't know that that is one of their best case scenarios in terms of an option. Just not because of the player, but because of the situation. And you already know he's in Russia for one more year for sure. Well, at what point is he even available to you if you draft him as an NHL team? Let me see here. What do I think the Sharks should do for an alternate sweater? Well, there's the whole Fanatics conversation to be had, which I will not be having right now. But from my understanding, Fanatics taking over the jersey manufacturing for the NHL and doing so at the start of a 10-year contract, it's my understanding that they have asked teams to not make a lot of changes to their current jerseys, and that there will also not be an alternate selection as we've seen with the reverse retros. So Blastmaster, to the point, we could sit here and fantasize about, this might be cool, that might be a good idea. Seems and sounds to me like we're not going to be seeing a lot of alternates across the league in the next few seasons. Again, maybe you can tell with my delivery and my body language, the whole Fanatics thing is very interesting. It's out of left field, to steal a baseball reference. What's the hockey equivalent of that? Out of the blue, out of left field. You know, like it's in the rafters somewhere. I did not see that one coming. I really did not see that one coming. Personally, I would do a light gray with the teal pants. Oh, light gray jersey. Okay. Personally, you wished Under Armour would get the NHL. Yeah, and that's the other thing. If you knew it wasn't going to be Adidas, I don't know that Nike's in that position, but there's Under Armour, like True, like they make sticks and goalie equipment. Could they have gotten into that space? How about like Warrior? There's a lot of brands that make hockey stuff and could have slipped into that role. Fanatics has been more of a distributor than an actual manufacturer. Now, they did kind of take over some of the baseball stuff too. In fact, I think it was 2019, Fanatics took over the actual manufacturing of Nike jerseys, where it was Fanatics made, whoosh, slap a Nike logo on the shoulder. But I know that Fanatics has a reputation that's not great, as SJ Sharks fangirl points out here. We'll see. I mean, the spotlight is going to be on Fanatics to not screw up here, right? And there's two levels of this. There's all the pro stock stuff, which I know is not going to miss a beat. That's manufactured separately out in Montreal. But I'm talking about all the consumer grade products that fans buy, fans want to invest in. They want it to hold up. They don't want their jersey to do that. But it blows my mind. Okay, just peel back the curtain on this. If I was like, let's say I'm a Sharks super fan, okay? And let's say I want to own a jersey. I am more likely to, and it doesn't matter, like, okay, it's not even what I could afford here on the, whatever today is. But where is the date on my, sorry, I got a new watch. Thursday the 6th. It doesn't matter if I could, because a pro stock jersey is going to come at a cost. And if you want to get your name on the back of it or somebody's name, it's going to be expensive, right? I would rather save up all season or save up to get the pro stock one. That's just me. Like I said, even if I couldn't afford it today or I didn't want to spend that much today, I would start stashing away because I'd like to have the cool stuff. I like to have the cool stuff. I like to have, I would be more prone to want the real thing versus, the cheaper version, which I understand is perfect for some fans. They want it now and they don't want to spend a lot, or they're not going to wear it a lot, or they're only going to wear it a couple times. That's fine. It's totally fine. I'd rather have the more durable one because I'm going to use it a lot. Okay, that established, and I'll wait for it too. It blows my mind that fans have not been able to order pro stock hockey jerseys. Like, not the ones made in Canada, not the same ones that the players wear. That's not a Sharks thing, by the way. That's a league and Adidas and NHL thing. What are you guys doing? You should be able, for every sport, every team, get the same jersey that the athletes are wearing on the field, on the ice. You should, if you want. And if you're going to pay the premium amount for it, you should be able to get that. So mind-blowing that you can't. Under Armour would have been nice. Q with the funny one here. Jace Peterson, replacement Marcus, or they just have the same goatee guy? I was talking to, who was it? Was it Towney? Was it Vince Cotroneo? I was talking to somebody at the ballpark the other day, and Jace was standing, 20 feet away. He was putting on his batting gloves, and I was like, hey, do you see Marcus is back? And Jace, from the profile view, I don't know if straight on, but from the profile view, it is the goatee, right? And maybe a little like bone structure of the face. And Jace has got a lot of ink. He's got a lot of tattoos. I don't think Marcus does. Like, clearly, like if you spend more than 1 second looking at Jace Peterson, you're like, yeah, that's not Marcus. But if you do one of these, Like if you just do a quick eye glance, I could see how you see it. And it is especially the goatee, the cut of the goatee. It's like I've never seen two people with identical goatees, but Marcus Semien and Jace Peterson have near identical goatees. After that, maybe some similarities, not a ton, but anyway, whoever I was talking to, I don't know if it was Vince or Townie, were like, what? They don't look the same. I was like, no, not identical, alike and scary alike if you just do one of these. Anyway, I guess not everybody sees it, but Q, you see it, and that's all that matters to me. Architecture Kid. Oakland hasn't been focusing on the movement to Howard Terminal or Vegas. How much do you think Oakland cares about the stadium, and how long do you think MLB will take Oakland's stall? Okay. When you say I'm going to assume you mean the city of Oakland hasn't been focusing on the movement to Howard Terminal or Las Vegas. So I think they have been sifting through the Howard Terminal stuff. How much do you think Oakland, the city, cares about the stadium, and how long do I think MLB? Okay, so I see. We got a couple different questions here in one. Let's focus on the first thing. Oakland has some other really pressing issues right now. There's been a ransomware attack. The police chief was recently fired and dismissed. Oakland's got a lot of high-level issues to tackle right now. Excuse me, I'm just going to check my text here. Oakland's got a lot of stuff going on. And to say that this ballpark, like in my opinion, I can't stand here honestly as a respectable and responsible human and tell you, oh, this needs to be their top priority right now. Like that's not. I can't say that. I wish I could say that. I wish that everything was going great and this was something that should be on their front burner, but they've got a lot of other pressing life things to deal with. Everybody does, in fairness. They've got a few extra ones in the hopper right now. So to say that they haven't been, but again, I don't know that the A's have been engaging them. The A's have been pursuing Las Vegas. They've been pursuing Nevada. That's going to continue, I think, for a couple more months. So your other question is, how long do you think MLB will take Oakland's stall? I think Major League Baseball would probably, and I can't speak for them, but I don't think Major League Baseball the only reason that they are pressing to get Oakland resolved and Tampa Bay resolved is because they want to expand. And they probably want to expand in Las Vegas. They definitely want to expand in Nashville. I know a guy who might be the guy, who is the guy, to head up the Nashville stuff. Yeah, Stu. But the point is that Major League Baseball wants to get this done, these two things resolved so that they can move on. At the same respect, I don't think Major League Baseball is, like, they are interested in pursuing Las Vegas, no doubt. Like, they've had the A's do all this work so that even if the A's don't move there, somebody else will. And they'll have like, oh, here's where you build, here's who you talk to, here's everybody you need to know. But the thing is, I don't know that baseball and its owners across the league, do they really want to step away from this market and an area that they know has been successful, could be successful? If you think that this region cannot support two teams, I will challenge you on that every single time. Now, if you're looking at me with attendance figures of the last couple of years, I'll say, yeah, but it has not always been that way. It has long been established that this market can contain two NFL teams. You know, people said a long time ago, what if the Bay Area got another NBA team? If it weren't for the Sacramento Kings, to be very truthful with you, I think the Bay Area could have two NBA teams. I think you could have one in Oakland, well, now San Francisco, and I think you could have the other one playing at SAP Center. I think you could have an NBA team, a second NBA team in the Bay Area. Should probably do a separate video on that. I don't think it, look, now if you're the Warriors, this is your territory, you do not want that to happen, nor should they want, like that. I'm not saying it should happen. I'm saying this area could support it. So it could support 2 football teams, 2 baseball teams. I don't think the Bay Area could support 2 hockey teams. I've seen people say, how about adding another NHL team? How about No. This market is strong and good for one franchise. Hockey is an emerging sport here. Let's leave it at that. Baseball is not. Baseball's been around for decades. It's been around for multiple generations here with, the A's coming in, or the Giants coming in first, the A's joining them in the late 60s, early 70s. So we know it can exist. I just don't think one of the top, 5 markets, media markets in the country, and you want to take a team out of that to go to Las Vegas, which is like 30th or lower. And there's opportunities down there. There's different opportunities. I get it. It's not a bad. That's why you want to expand there. But do you really want to take one of your bigger opportunities and hand it away to one of your questionable opportunities instead of just doing both? Do both. So that's what I would think baseball would be at. But that's me on the outside looking in. Oh, am I going to be watching any of the Masters? And if so, who is your favorite to win it? Is Jordan Spieth in it? Is McIlroy in it? You know what? I'm going to be so busy this weekend with Easter, with a couple family things going on, with baseball games every day. To be honest, it'll be on screens. Yes, I will inevitably be consuming some of it. And as I try and, you know what? I think for me this summer, I'm going to get back into hitting the golf ball a little bit more. So for me, it might be a little bit more of an inspiration to watch some guys swing and struggle and figure out what I need to wear out on the course. And bowling. Bowling's the other one. Now that I got the new ball. Huh? Would I bowl a 230? Oh, can I talk about that real quick? I think I might have to close out the live stream that way. I'm going to do a lot more bowling, I think, in the coming months. So I wish I could tell you that I know anything about it. I don't. Haven't done any research. I'll watch it. I'll hope that something interesting happens, but I don't have anything for you on the Masters. No disrespect. I'm consumed by other stuff. All right. By the way, when I load Twitter and the Doge comes up there, what are we doing? What? You'll see in a second. I'm loading my Twitter page because I know that's where a photo of this is and exists. I don't need the Doge. I really don't. That's so dumb. That's like, oh, let's have our inside joke. It's really funny. Ha ha ha. 5 people get it. The rest of you don't. But I think it's funny, and I own this, so I'll do it anyway. So stupid. Okay. There it is. The Black Widow. My brand new bowling ball from Hammer Bowling. As they say, nothing hits like a hammer. So, quick story. I was bowling maybe about a month ago, 3 weeks ago probably. Me, my son, and my parents. And we were out at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. And my ball, it has lived in the garage, which is, you'll find out, a bad idea for the last couple years. And I have not been bowling much. I don't even know when the last time before 3 weeks ago. I don't even know the last time I bowled before that. Had it been months or years? It had been a long time. But at some point in my life, early 2000s, I got into bowling. I was bowling a bunch. Life was different back then. Single young man, just finished college, a lot of free time. I'd bowl a lot at the Castro Village Bowl. Got my own ball, my own shoes. Anyway, my last ball, I'd had it for almost 20 years. I pick it up after throwing it a few times. Oh my goodness, there's a huge crack in my ball. And I'm like, first, when you're like, is that a lot? What is that? Then I realize it's a crack. Your ball's done. It's a sad moment. Like, I've been bowling with that ball for 20 years. I hit a 267 back in the day, and I don't know. It's just something it's been with me for so long. It was a Columbia 300 Bully. That was the model of it. 16-pounder. All, custom drilled, all fingertips, all that stuff. Anyway, I broke it. It broke. Now, it broke because I found out that you should not store bowling balls in places that greatly fluctuate in temperature. in our garage in the last couple summers, yeah, it gets super hot and super cold out there. It's a garage. Ours is not insulated by any means. So, ball breaks, big crack in it. I'm like, ah. So instantly, like I'm gonna bowl again. I liked bowling the other day. Got me want to get back into it. And back in the day, I don't know, I'd always hit above 200 here and there, whatever. 260, or is it 276 was my high score. Anyway, but I know what I'm capable of, and I'm pretty good, and I have fun with it. It's competitive enough. I don't need to be the greatest, but I get a little kick out of the competition. So I knew I was going to get a new ball. I started researching it, and like the Black Widow Hybrid 2.0, that bad boy. That's the one I wanted. Luckily enough, my parents, because they were there, and my birthday was 3 weeks away, they were like, I didn't know this. They were going to get it for me, birthday gift. So on my birthday, get a square box that's really heavy. I'm like, I think I might know what's in there. That bowling ball. So yesterday I took it out to Dublin Bowl, the pro shop. They drilled it up for me. They, measure your fingers. They look at I brought my old ball in to say, I really liked how this felt. Can we do something? Yep, we could. They were great out there. Can't say enough about the gentleman who helped me. Asked me what color fingertips. We measured those. They put them in. I was like, hey, can I get my name on it too? I've never had a ball with my name engraved on it. Can I? Yep, you can do it. Puts it on there. No problem. So I then take it out for a spin. Look at that. I guess you can't see all of that. Let me move it over just a little bit here so you can see it better. So this is game number 1. Now what you can see here is, a 7 on the first ball. Now, by the way, I don't have a spare ball. So I'm still throwing my strike ball for my spare. And I think Brazil might be in the market for a spare ball here pretty soon. Spare ball, you throw it straighter, right? To just target the pins you want. It doesn't have the hook like my custom drilled current ball and former ball did. So I'm feeling it out here. I'm not getting the strike. I don't know if I hit the pocket here. I couldn't pick up a spare. I think this was one of these two here was a mistake, but a 7 and a 1 can't even mark. Oh, okay. Then you see where it kicked in here. Strike, 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 strike. Oh, 3rd through 8th frames. Even here on the 9. Oh, and this one, if I recall correctly, was the 10 pin, I think. It should have went down. It didn't. Pick up the spare. No big deal. Strike, strike. And I don't remember what happened here. I don't remember which one didn't fall, but the 2 9s that I got here in the 9th and 10th frames, they were legitimate cheats. I got cheated out of all 10 pins falling. So the point is, though, even when I started this game, in the first, I knew that I was going to have to share, how'd your first game go? I was going to share it regardless. And honestly, even if I bowled like a 150 or something, I would have shared it. And as long as it wasn't, embarrassing. But I knew these first 2 frames were going to cost me. Turns out, look, if those were strikes or even spares, I'm back in the 260 or 70 range, I guess. But they weren't. But long story short, super happy with the ball and highly recommend it. You need something, go out to the pro shop at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. So no sponsorship, no endorsement here, nothing. No, just me saying support them. They're good and helpful people out there. So here, let's go to this question here. Nice bowling score, but what's your Wii bowl? I can't remember. Was that the late 2000s, mid 2000s when I was doing the Wii? You always had to watch out because you'd swing your arm and everybody would be like, whoa! Usually it involves some beers or two. All right. Fingertip bowler. Yeah, and I some people were saying that I guess new bowlers or bowlers nowadays, they don't put their thumb in the ball. There's not a thumb hole. I don't know. I got to have my thumb in there and fingertips. And I actually get I get a little bit here on the blister or on the tip of my index finger, a little bit of a hard skin and a blister there usually. So, oh my gosh, we just passed the 2-hour mark of the live stream. So I do not want to escape or evade anybody here, but I do have to tell you, it's time for old Brazil to sign off. I really appreciate everybody for being here on a rare opportunity where I'm just home and wanted to do the stream and got to chat with some of you, and it looks like it was a pretty decent audience, right, of people that tuned in. So I know it wasn't normal, but yeah, I appreciate it. All right, let's see, back in action tomorrow. A's and Rays all weekend long, pre and post game live, and obviously be watching the Sharks tonight. See how their season wraps up, the final 5 games. What draft pick are they most likely to get? What is today's the 6th? I think it's May 8th is the lottery. The draft lottery happens. So that's going to be the big one. Hang on. Here's the drop. Just a drop always gets me right there. All right. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for all of you being here. And those of you who stuck around, it's awesome. I will see you on TV. See you next time really soon. All right. Take care.